Appreciate you. Konsa is 100, a good signing. DG, brother, good to see you back. How are we feeling about the movements? Konsa don't rate me, but I'll have to trust Arteta, and hopefully it is not more than 45 mil. I think they meet in the middle, man. I think you're looking at the lower end of 40s, early 50s. I don't think, ideally it would have been a 35, 40 million thing. Aston Villa not going for that. I'll be amazed, and I don't really care because it's not my money. We're not going to spend 60 million on him. 50 million, not the biggest not the biggest of transfers in terms of fees. In this day and age, I don't think 50 million is anything to cry about with Konsa. I don't know where you lot rate him, but he probably is nearer the upper end of defenders in the Premier League. Naturally, Saliba, Gabriel are going to be there. I don't know how he's definitely, I'd say top 10. I don't necessarily subscribe to him being top 5, man. A couple of, Diaz better than him, Guardiola better than him, Saliba, Gabriel better than him. Who Man United got? I don't rate their centre-halves above you. I can't cap. I don't rate Chelsea centre-halves above you. I can't cap. Van Dijk better than you. Van de Ven better than you, to be fair. There might be 1-2 that I'm missing out. But yeah, man, I'm cool with Konsa. But again, it's just that left wing. Like I said, big up Zolis. I got all the belief in the world with him. But I still feel like we further strengthened 2 areas we're kind of quote-unquote strong with. As I said, I was probably the biggest Arsenal advocate on social media about signing a central midfielder. I'm actually happy with another defender. Some of you were saying we don't need another defender. We've got enough depth. I think in a mad way, you're quite naive, and I think you're misplaced with that kind of rhetoric, but still want a left winger. I still think our attacking unit brings a bag of questions. Obviously, Arteta needs to find ways to break down low blocks. The players off their own back have to go from having not just moments last season, but greater consistency. But who do you really, and I know we're going to score goals, but who's going to get the goals? Who do you really trust? Up until the last 2 years, owing to injuries, Saka was the one consistent guy. In the last 3-4 years, maybe even going back to 2022, 23, we've seen a bunch of players have strong campaigns, not necessarily that consistency. Gyökeres has shown his ability to get goals, link up play and all of that he's lacking. Kai Havertz, the link up plays, all of that. He's shown an ability to get goals, but they're both lacking. You wish you could bring them in together. Eze, to be fair, Gyökeres as well. Well, to be fair, Kai, it's more fitness. Gyökeres just keeps scoring. That's about it. Eze, I think it's more consistency throughout the case of a season. Saka, we just need you to be fully fit, but you want to get beyond just purely relying on Saka to make the difference. Odegaard, again, you look good in the World Cup. You look good in the Community Shield. Can we get that in an Arsenal shirt? Who else is there? I think the ones I truly don't believe in beyond being tools in a toolbox is Madueke and Martinelli to get goals. I like Zolis, all the belief in you. Big up young Max Dowman, but yeah, that's my thoughts, people. So yeah, man, it seems like we're making movements where Konsa's concerned. Big up yourself, Nems. Evening, mate. Konsa is a good hunt to get in. He's proper Prem-proven centre-back. And with Big Gab, Saliba and Mossy as his centre-back core, he fits Arteta's system. For the Yildiz, that shit makes no effing sense. I don't think we're going for Yildiz. I just think there's only so many times you can link us with the same players. I do take the Yildiz links with a bit more validity, if that makes sense, because I don't know why, but I just remember the Athletic speaking a lot about him, saying we like him, we like Bacola, we like Morgan Rogers. So I've always followed them 3. But whether Yildiz wants to make the move, whether Juventus want to sell, I don't know how much are Arsenal prepared to pay. There are some rumours that Yildiz actually needs surgery. There's some rumours that he's nursing a knock. I don't know, people. I mean, listen, SK, I don't know what Curtis is doing over there, but appreciate you, man. Again, I'd say there's something for everyone, man. Appreciate you regardless, my boy. What's the Yildiz news? We're going to move on. I just wanted to see what you lot are saying. Big up Hincapié. Hincapié, Calafiori, obviously centre-half options as well as playing at fullback. Hincapié, Calafiori, Mosquera, Gabriel, Ben White, Timber, Konsa. That's not bad defensive unit. Defensive unit, I never thought we'd get here as Arsenal fans. Can't ask for nothing more. If I'm being a bit stingy, more in the next 12, 18 months, if there's another generation, not the right word, another top right back, because Ben White probably moves. If you can bring in a right back, then that's great. But on surface levels, it's all great, isn't it? It's not now I'm more looking at it a bit how I look in midfield. Arteta, you've got the ingredients. It's down to you to cook in it. Like, you now need to have the ability to maybe not panic and rush Saliba back. We all know he's great and our best centre half and all that stuff, but cool off a bit, which in previous years we never had that luxury. The same logic probably extends to Gabriel. Obviously, where you look in our midfield, there's plenty of We could play a lone six, a double pivot. We could have the double pivot and a 10. You know, the combinations with Miles Lewis Skelly and Rice, Bruno G and Miles Lewis Skelly, Rice and MLS, Zubamendi and Rice, and all these denominations. You can run all of that. Or you could have one of them in the lone six, and then you could have Eze and Odegaard as rotating eights and all of those kind of things, people. So I feel them units is more down to Arteta. You've got the ingredients, serve up different meals. Attack, I think you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If I'm honest with you, I think I accept a lot of the attackers for what they are. I don't think neither Gyökeres nor Kai Havertz is that A-lister striker. And if we could improve on that, great. But there's games where Gyökeres is going to look amazing. Others is going to look shit. The same goes with Kai. Noni's just always going to look like Noni has that, like with Martinelli, you're busy, but you're not necessarily productive. Obviously, Dalman's at 16, 17, you want him to play, but you don't want to put expectations on him. And I really like what Zolis could be in it, but I want to be fair to you. You know, you've just signed for the club and all of those kind of things, man. Pick up yourself, live from Planet X. You're in Chile on vacation. What's it like, man? What's it like? Tell me, man. Reckon it gets done 45 mil. Fire, appreciate you. Josh having to intervene with Bruno G and Konsa deals because Berta has been shy. He might get sacked soon. Mikel wanted Alabi, who's now at Villa. I mean, you can't say Berta's been crap because at the end of the day, he's done great stuff. But, you know, if he's not agreeing with me, you get involved, Josh Kroenke, it makes sense. You know, it's all designed to just get these things through the line. From Mustafi, Socrates, Lick Steiner to this defensive depth, we've been well fed after all that trauma. We ain't that team that will be bullied anymore. We're now the bullies. I would rather have players who wanted to join us and nobody else, Konsa, Gyökeres, Zolis, Bruno G, than those who flutter their eyelids at other clubs. Alvarez, Bacola, Vinny. To be fair with Bacola, we don't know what he wants. But if I'm Bacola, I'm not necessarily saying I wouldn't hear what Arsenal was saying, but what was the language? You know, Morgan Rogers is our top target. Vinny is our top target. So you're like third choice. Liverpool have been chasing you for a year. They're a big club. You can see where you're standing on the left-hand side. I'm going to go where I'm wanted. I'm not to say if Arsenal didn't get involved at this moment in time, I wouldn't listen. To be fair with Alvarez, again, I don't know him, but it's almost like a few years ago when we was going for Rafinha, when we was third choice. His second choice was Chelsea because they were in the Champions League. His first choice was Barcelona. It's our fault if we're going for Alvarez, knowing that he wants Barcelona as his first choice. By all means, try and intercept things. Same with Vinny, but you know Vinny's first choice is to stay at Real Madrid. So I hear you. You're not wrong. But yeah, just food for thought, man. It's been months. Run me probably on deadline. Get out of here, man. I'm not on that at all, man. Skelacci, Senderos, Yuru, Segan, and old Sylvester. We deserve the defense we have right now. True. I always allow Senderos because you definitely got terrorized. But in your defense, Senderos, AC Milan away, Real Madrid away. I've seen you stand up too. Skelacci, you were poor. I never really rated Giroud. Segan was rubbish. And yeah, to go to Barcelona away with, you know, a 70-year-old Sylvester as Sol Campbell. We used to do some crazy things, man. We used to do some absolute crazy things. The transfer news about Yildiz is no shit. Have some respect and honor for people. Whatever the hell that means, man. God bless you. DJ, I hope we can get Ndai, even though we already got Zolis of the same caliber, but I feel they do wonders for us on both wings. I like Ndai. Who wouldn't? But when you're starving, anything looks hungry. It's not to say stuff. It's like, I like Ndai. For me, it and it's like with all players, it's how far are you prepared to go? Even with the inflation of today's day and age, I'll be trying to get that done for 60. I think he's a level raiser by default. I don't think it's that level raiser we kind of want. Obviously, there's two schools of thought, in my opinion. You could, and you are not wrong in something is better than nothing, because right now, we like Zolis. If he gets injured, it's back to Martinelli and Eze conversations. But then also, and I don't necessarily want to subscribe to this, on one hand, I'm pissed off that we haven't got a left winger and Vinny and Rogers and this one and Yildiz and that one and the third. But there is logic with, at the end of the day, as frustrated as I am, because I do think that was a big step, there's no point buying people for the sake of buying people if they're not evidently level raisers. You don't want to be desperate for no reason. And how much does Ndai raise the level? He raised it by default because Martinelli was our first choice. I think you're better than him. And you never know if he signs for our football club. But how much is he worth? Again, not that I have the money, but I'm not paying. So, yeah, I don't know, man. That's just some food for thought. We needed a new centre mid and centre back. So that's good. Defo need a forward. However, don't sign for the sake of it. If nothing is available this window, definitely revisit it mid-season as there may be a new start. I hear that because Semenyo did get the move from Bournemouth. Apologies to City, so you never know. It's an interesting one, man. It's an interesting one. So, yeah, Arsenal are working on pushing with a deal to sign Ezri Konsa. We're accelerating our interest in the Aston Villa defender. Pardon me. Various sources have indicated that there is some optimism and agreement for the England international to move to the Emirates is possible. Konsa is Arsenal's first choice defensive target. But so far, the Premier League champions have not met Villa's 60 million valuation. So in terms of not meeting it, there's got to have been something that we're clearly no way. You never know. It could develop quicker. But in terms of his medical fee agreed, signing tomorrow, that's probably premature. From what we was told about this 60 million valuation, because would it be fair to say we've been linked with him for the best part of a month? Something in the last day or so has to have accelerated. I don't think personal terms have been an issue. You'd imagine, we would have had that conversation with his advisors and his agents, and obviously with Konsa directly. Arteta's probably spoken to him and said, do you want to sign for us? How do you see yourself? And big up to yourself, Konsa, because again, this could just be the natural evolution and the best time to leave Aston Villa. We, as an Arsenal fan, Emirates, that used to happen to us. Like the project, and it's a different one, but like Trossard, Martinelli, like Gabriel Jesus, the projects develop. This might be the best time to leave Aston Villa. You never want to leave a rave or a house party when the lights turn on. And what I mean by that is clearly they've lost several players, and especially us as Arsenal fans. If there's one area you don't want to lose key bodies, it's defensively. They've been ransacked. Luka Dean's gone. I still reckon Emi Martinez is gone. You've seen your star man, your difference maker, Morgan Rogers leave. You might want to leave. And to be fair, there's several attractions for Konsa to want to sign for Arsenal Football Club. You move back to London, which you're a Londoner. I don't know if you grew up supporting Arsenal, but you're 28. We've definitely been one of those clubs. As you can't beat them, join them. You can see what Arsenal's projects is. Got to 2 finals, got to a Premier League. You obviously got all the soon-to-be Arsenal teammates, but England teammates telling you about what's going on there. One thing I admire you, Konsa, because, you can make a case of some of our top 4 to top 6 rivals. You could go over there and play consistent football. If Saliba and Gabriel are fit, I don't necessarily back you to start, but you back yourself. You're like, all right, cool, them man are good, but I think I can go and do this, whether that's at right back or centre half. So I admire that as well. Obviously, and I actually think the same with Bruno, because he had 2 years left on his deal. Money's important. Konsa's got 2 years left on his deal. You're probably going to get better wages at Arsenal. And if your agent's done his job, you're probably signing a 4-year to 5-year deal at this moment. So there's that kind of security that comes with it. So it makes sense. And you're leaving on a high. Aston Villa have had a number of good 2 seasons now. A number of seasons challenging for top 4, getting Champions League, won a Europa League. It's the best time to cut, in my humble opinion. So yeah, Arsenal reopened talks with Villa over a deal for Konsa, but it still fell short of reaching an agreement. The Gunners then appeared to pivot to Bayern Leverkusen's Jarell Konsa. Arsenal have refocused their efforts on Konsa with a sense now the deal will be completed. Yeah, but where's the left wing and all of that, man? Talk to me, people. Kenan Yildiz to Arsenal, 21 years of age. And you know what? We're a multicultural club. You've already got a Greek guy now. If you go and get him, if you go and get Yildiz, Green Lanes would be even more mad. Do you know how much marketing this means? I don't think Juventus want to sell, and I think you're going to have to offer stupid money. I feel the same way with him, admittedly, as I do with Morgan Rogers, in that, like I said with Morgan Rogers, in my heart of hearts, I know you're not probably going to be the long-term left-wing option, but I was on signing you and figuring out that shit later. I'm kind of like that with Yildiz. I think you'll do your best damage in that Odegaard as a role, but if we had you and Zolis, bro, it could be lit. Sasha Trevanelli has said, Kenan Yildiz is a genuine target, or rather a dream. Okay, so that's the optimism dead there for Mikel Arteta. Arsenal have decided to go on the attack, and there should be an offer or at least an approach to Juventus in the coming days. Arsenal are going to give it everything they've got. Okay. Mikel Arteta wants Arsenal to be very active in the last final 2 weeks of the transfer window. He's still insistent on a right-sided defender, in which Konsa could be that. Well, is going to be that, provided everything just flows. And a left-sided forward with one significant sell expected. I think it's going to be Martinelli, man. I don't think we're going to shift on Gabriel Jesus. And I know this is bad mind, people. Do you think our football club needs to start taking that hardline approach? Like, because all the language, like Fabio Vieira don't fancy this move, Nelson don't fancy that, Jesus don't fancy that. I'm not, from a human point of view, this ain't nice, but do we, and I want to ask you like this, are we in that scenario now, Arsenal fans, where we might have to take a leaf out of some other books? Like, all right, cool, Jesus, go train with the 21s. Fabio Vieira, go train with the 21s. Nelson, go train with the 21s. Obviously, this pre-season was a bit different because we had nobodies to pick from. But argument's sake, if we go back to the start of pre-season, you man are doing pre-season with the 21s. These man are flying on tour. Obviously, we didn't fly on tour, but you got the point, really. And I feel bad about saying that because I don't think that's right. But something needs to give, if I'm honest. Miguel Delaney's also spoken and said, Arsenal didn't move for Rodgers or, as yet, Bradley Barcola because they don't feel they're quite worth the 110 million plus prices quoted. So then Barcola's Liverpool got a free run at him. The value is viewed as that crucial difference between a player that will bolster you and one that will really elevate you. I don't think Makola elevates us at the point of entry. Again, I'm not talking about by default, because once you're talking 100 all the way up to 145 million pound player, I have to look at you different. I do think he's got potential, but it needs to be realized potential. And you're not a 19-year-old, you're 23, 24, 25. If the penny don't drop now, it's never going to be. Of course, there's exceptions to the rule, but you get the point. Arsenal's internal analytics show that Gabriel Martinelli is as effective as many of the targets in the 80 to 100 million bracket. Arsenal would probably move for Ellie Junior Krupi had he not been injured, while Bacola could still appeal depending on the price. Indy Kaya, and to be fair, yeah, he did speak yesterday. He did post about Beliba, whatever his name is, going to Manchester United. And today you also saw Ornstein talk about it. He said London sources confirmed Liverpool and Arsenal were locked in intense, high-level talks all day today. The subject was Nwaneri. Arsenal are looking to sell the player this summer. With a heavy heart, I wouldn't want you to go Liverpool. But if you lot want Nwaneri, give us Rio and Gomoa. Lighty for lighty. And we can keep it moving. But that might be BS if I'm brutally honest, people, because Arsenal's preference is for Nwaneri to leave on loan. We can't get up. We can't get rid of him yet. It don't make no sense. Even if you look at when he burst through the team versus now, whatever you think you're going to get, it's going to be low. The man just needs a pathway, and unfortunately, it's not there. Left 8, right 8, 10, right wing, whether you like it, I like it. This one's getting minutes and he don't deserve it ahead of Nwaneri. It's not there. Loan my man out. We did sign him, committing to a new deal last year. Loan my man out. The minute one of these players move on, I'm just saying random names, Kai Havertz, Zubamendi, Odegaard. I'm just talking about a role or spot opening up. Bobby's your uncle, people. And I've said it before, man. If Mikel Arteta is Pep Guardiola, I wanted Nwaneri to be Phil Foden. Obviously, he can never be Foden. He actually turns up and he's not treated like a kid. But what I mean by that is you've seen Foden play on the right, play on the left, play in the 10, play in the 8, play as a false 9. Arteta has spoken about Nwaneri's abilities to play as a 9. But I kind of part that off because you need to go somewhere. You're going to play 20, 30 appearances, put 5 games together on the spin. To a degree, develop away from the hype of Arsenal Football Club as well. And the reality is, Marino and Kai know their roles in the squad. They're going to play either in that 10 or the 8 before you. There's less of a pressing need for them to get minutes. As much as Dalman, we want Dalman to play. There's less of a pressing need for Dalman to get minutes. He's 16 versus a 19-year-old. Madueke, acceptance of his role, clearly a preferred option out on the right-hand side. Dalman's ahead of you in that. And then there's obviously Bukayo Saka. And whether you're like for like, you've got Odegaard and Eze that you're competing with. We don't know what Arteta's got planned in midfield. Because we're assuming it's, for example, any 2 of the 4 of, our midfield options. But let's just say Bruno, Rice, Odegaard. We don't necessarily know that's the case. What if he says, Eze, Odegaard, I've got some other plans. Zubamendi, Rice, one of you's going to be the lone 6, and we're going to have 2 rotating 8s. Go and develop, man. Minutes are currency. And respectfully to Reece Nelson, you don't want Donny to end up like Reece Nelson, where you're 26, ain't done anything of significance. Clearly, physically, Nelson struggles because he does pick up a lot of knocks. But apparently, Arsenal are prioritising loan offers for Nwaneri, with the Premier League champions not wanting to sell their teenage attacker permanently. The 19-year-old's future has been the subject of major speculation during the transfer window, with the Gunners Academy graduate attracting major interest from clubs across the Premier League and in Europe. Nwaneri's future has become the focus of further attention since he was left out of the matchday squad for the Community Shield win over Manchester City, in which Martinelli not being in that squad shocked me, because I've always thought he's a tool in the toolbox. I do think maybe the club are saying, I know you lot don't want to go Gala, but your thing's kind of done, in which I wouldn't even sanction selling Martinelli unless obviously I don't work for the club, but unless 100% you sold Martinelli today because tomorrow a left winger's coming in, or you're bringing in a left winger then selling Martinelli. Whether I rate him or not in terms of bodies, it does not make sense to let him go, because then you've only got Zolis. And yeah, there's a bunch of options to throw over there, but we're being a bit silly with that. There's an acknowledgement at Arsenal that Nwaneri is at a stage in his career when he would benefit from playing regular senior football. Remember, he was in with a cusp of getting a call-up for an England cap under Tuchel. However, given the abundance of attacking talent already at manager Mikel Arteta's disposal, the likelihood of Nwaneri playing substantial minutes this season appears unlikely, amid a sense at the Emirates Stadium that the teenager would benefit from another time at another club during the new season. And to be fair, you saw Smith Rowe go on 2 loans and make it here. Saliba, it's not the same, but Saliba went on a couple of loans. You just never know. Ultimately, Nwaneri's future will be dictated by the offers Arsenal receive, and should the club get a proposal significantly above their valuation for the attacking midfielder, then the Gunners may be forced into a rethink. Arteta said, I want him to be at a club, but we have to. I want him to be at the club, but we have to consider in the medium and long term what is best for the player overall. So in the short and medium term is to get minutes. Long term, you could have a future. AC Milan, Leipzig, Dortmund, and Fulham are among the clubs to have shown an interest in Nwaneri, in which that makes me conflicted. Because the attraction of a team like Leipzig, we see, they get players from these markets and sell them back. AC Milan's a massive club. Obviously, the way, not the same, but the way Kobe Mainoo was dealt over there with Amorim, you don't want him to go over there. Part of me does want Nwaneri to play in the Premier League where he's more in our faces. Dortmund's interesting because Dortmund and Shakhtar, the world's resetting. They're back to signing their wonder kids. And we know what Dortmund's done. Jude Bellingham, Dembele, Haaland, way before these guys won and done all the things they were doing. That's kind of where it started. And even people like Aubameyang, to a slight degree, different stage of his career. Granted, Dortmund could be a massive attraction. And Nwaneri's gone on loan before to another country. So you're on being outside your comfort zone. I wouldn't be against him going to Fulham and linking up with the Arsenal Dons, but it's well documented that Arsenal are actively looking to sell players this summer, which has left Nwaneri's future unclear in recent weeks. Gabriel Jesus, Gabriel Martinelli, and Fabio Vieira among the players the club are open to selling. Vieira, Jesus, you need to be gone today. Martinelli, your ticket is on standby. Let's get back into this Yildiz stuff, people. Arsenal have been in the picture all summer to sign Juventus's Kenan Yildiz, and they haven't given up on the Turkish star. Yildiz, and I wonder if Bayern Munich miss him, because Juventus's game was Bayern Munich's loss. Yildiz wasn't always consistent throughout the 2025-26 campaign, and this is what I mean. He's a talented player, but there's a lot of gassing up being done. Pardon me. But his rise to prominence is clear to see. He has become a real symbol for Juventus and is regularly relied on to make an impact in attack. The youngster contributed to 21 goals last season, and there's a sense he can get better in the upcoming campaign. Earlier this summer, Sports Witness covered how Juventus' ownership is against his departure. Despite that, Arsenal continue to keep tabs on him, and a major offer could be on their way. Today's print of Tutto Sport, okay, so credibility in the bin already, reports Arsenal are back in the mix for Yildiz. Mikel Arteta is a fan of the player and sees him as a major target, having faced disappointment in a move for Julian Alvarez. As a result, the Gunners could be willing to offer as much as 100 million euros for the Turk's signature. Their interest could soon turn into a formal offer. Juventus consider Yildiz to be a key asset for the present and future. This is exactly why they handed him a new deal earlier in 2026, with the player currently tied down until 2030. The attacker would ideally want to stay in the Turin. He has constantly expressed his commitment to the Rossoneri, and changing his mind would be quite difficult. However, Arsenal could make an attempt to end his 4-year stay at the club. With not long to go for the window to close, it'd be difficult for Juventus to sell Yildiz. They don't have long to find a replacement, which could make things complex for Arsenal. Next summer, things could change. The Gunners will have more time to assess the deal, and Juventus' stance on the player's future could also change. Depending on how his season goes, this financial reality of Italian football teams mean that even the biggest Serie A clubs can't reject significant offers. Okay, fair play. I think this is bullshit now, people, but apparently Arsenal were eyeing Brest defender Raphael Legan. So I think there's a myth. Crystal Palace and Fulham have been linked with the French defender who stands at 6'6", and he's a 19-year-old. So I think you never know. We could get him and loan him out and do all of that, but I'd imagine that Konsa's the last defender. So, yeah, we've gone over what Richard Garlick has said already. Alex Howard, I believe, of the BBC, has said Timber could return to first-team training this week, which is music to, obviously, everybody's ears. What else have we got? We've gone over Yildiz. I'm excited about that, innit? So, yeah, we've gone over that. I'm excited about that, bro. I would love that to be the case. Attacking another Premier League, that's where that's where we're going. I love it because now we're going for more. God, man, go for it, Arteta, man. Don't be scared to be ambitious in this life. Sources have told ESPN Christian Norgard was a popular figure around the Arsenal training ground, and there were no questions about his professionalism. Big him up. But Mikel Arteta felt he could not deliver the level of control required from his midfielders. No shame in that. Romano once again has said Konsa is now closing on the move to Arsenal. The deal is almost done for what I'm hearing. It's 99% done. So the here we go could come at any moment. I would say any moment, any minute at this point. And we're expected to depart with 50-odd million quid for him, people. Saka said in June 2024, some sessions I do 1v1 with Konsa because for me, he's one of the best in the Premier League defending 1v1. Agent Saka, low-key, getting all these boys. I mean, this is annoying. Gabriel Jesus is currently not open to joining Napoli, with the player taking his time to decide his future. Don't get it twisted. When I remove the fact that I'm an Arsenal fan, I understand that. Can we get the likes up, people? We've got 49. I understand that. Take your time. The next move is vital. Do you want to run down your deal so you can be a free agent? You got family to consider. There's a lot of things that Gabriel Jesus has to consider. But when I put my tribal fan cap on, come on, man. Other clubs are just flogging, man. We ain't got time for that, man. Just get rid. James Ollier said, Arsenal have sought to improve their squad's physicality over recent years to the extent that when opting not to pursue one prominent target last summer, sources say a senior executive explained the decision internally by claiming that we would break him. Mikel Arteta is one of the most demanding managers in the modern game, and durability is high on the list of characteristics Arsenal look for in potential signings these days. The club went on to acquire a different player in that position, more in line with that profile. This is said Bacola favours a move to Arsenal. Bacola would prefer a move to Arsenal and London over joining Liverpool this summer. However, PSG's substantial valuation remains a major obstacle, with no indication that Arsenal are prepared to meet the French side's asking price. Now they're saying they want in excess of 120 million on him, people. Saudi clubs and Galatasaray lead the chase for Rafa Leao. We know we're not getting Victor Osimhen. No one care about no video games. Bring on Coventry. Ironically, Aston Villa. Our first 5 games are quite interesting. Coventry at home, Villa away, Chelsea at home, Sunderland away last year. Wanted to pull my hair out. Brighton away was testy, and we got the job done. Our first 5 games, it's a bit mad still. Bring it on, man. We want smoke with everyone, man. We're attacking the league, as the gaffer said. Atletico Madrid are ready to sell Julian Alvarez to any team bar Barcelona. Hear me out. Is Ollie Watkins better than Kai Havertz and Gyökeres? That's one question. Can he play left wing? Yes or no? He wants to go Saudi. Can we double it? Can we double the deals here? Just hear me out for a year or 2. He's an Arsenal fan as well. Let me know your thoughts. Arsenal are still looking to sign a striker to bolster their attack, says Alex Howard of BBC. Now, striker is a subjective term because wingers are called that. Apparently, we're looking to keep bringing in these scouts. Arsenal are interested in Borussia Dortmund chief scout Sebastian Krug and have already made initial contact. Krug played a key role in deals for Jude Bellingham and Erling Haaland. Newcastle and Tottenham Hotspur are also said to be interested. What's this? Mikel Arteta allegedly has been in contact with Julian Alvarez in recent days as he's trying to convince him to join the club. Arsenal are making their final attempt before the end of the window. I mean, surely we've done all that chatting. Igor Tejon has requested Blackburn Rovers to cancel his contract, and he's currently not training with the team over their failure to reach an agreement with Arsenal over a fee. Arsenal are trying to get the 18-year-old striker for as low as possible. I mean, if we could get this Tejon kid, we've got the guy from Liverpool who can play as a striker as well as in other areas, and the Crystal Palace lad. If they progress to the first team, great. If they could be sold for a profit, even better, all while helping us in the intermediate. Because again, player trading is a vital thing, if I'm completely honest with you. We've gone over Nwaneri and things have developed since then. This journalist has said, Arsenal are back in the chase for Yildiz. Arteta is absolutely crazy about him. He's in love with the Turk. As I told you, for Juventus, he's not for sale, not even for 100 million. To change the scenario, it would take the player's willingness, who so far has always reaffirmed and demonstrated his bond with Juventus. We could still expect an offer this week. So yeah, it's just BS there. And just leave Julian Alvarez alone, man. He's not on it. He's not on it. So yeah, man, let's get involved in that Ollie Watkins thing. Telegraph Sport understands Arsenal are working on transfers for both James Scallon, a 19-year-old winger, and 20-year-old defender Habib Organe from Man United. They'll probably help our under-21s. Our under-21s got absolutely moved to, if I'm honest with you, against Barnet. We need to be competitive at that level, innit? So yeah, Timber's expected to return in September. Gabriel Jesus don't want to move. Barcelona striker options now. The Julian Alvarez deal is off, apparently. Gyökeres could become an option if Arsenal sign a replacement first. He's in his prime and a proven goal scorer, although there are doubts about his link-up play. They've also been linked with Gabriel Jesus, even though that's not here. And also Tredozzi of Club Brugge, who apparently we wanted. But this is said that Barcelona are preparing a major push to sign Julian Alvarez. However, Barcelona have given themselves 2 to 3 days to complete the deal. If it fails, they'll move on to other targets. So that seems to be everything else that's going on in the world of Arsenal. DG, next summer we go for Trent for White. Wouldn't be against Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think one thing all British supporters of the national team have been robbed of, specifically, is Trent Alexander-Arnold and Bukayo Saka together. Hope this signing doesn't stall Mascara and Saliba's development. Indirectly, it does and doesn't. It does because there's less minutes for you, Mascara, but then also it means you can develop without pressure. And naturally, it obviously affects the pathway. But I'm not being funny. Salmon's 16. Things can happen, man. It's amazing, bro. Off to Brazil today. Keep an eye out on wingers. Don't come back unless you find 20 Brazilian kids for Berta, man. Safe travels and enjoy your holiday. DG, does Konsa's poor aerial win rate worry you? He's bad aerially. I mean, naturally, if that's true, I mean, you never want to hear a defender, a centre half is poor with the ball at their feet. But I like him. He's quite combative. One thing I like about Konsa is the same thing I like about Mascara. I don't see them try to do things on the pitch above their pay grade. I do think he's got a bozo moment in him, but yeah.